I'm Andrew Trimble, the CEO of Kairos. Kairos is a scheduling and communication tool for elite football teams, used by clubs around the world to maximise performance. We've got Matt Walker from Cambridge United to talk about how use of a dedicated planning app has helped them manage their prehab and rehab schedule, with the benefit of improved preparation and recovery for their players. Okay, we've got Matt Walker, head of performance at Cambridge United. If we had had this conversation a week or two ago, Matt, we could have been talking about how you're sitting pretty top of the table. You're still in pretty good shape. It's just a little bit more competitive than it was.
Yeah, the joy of sport, eh? The joy of sport, highs and lows. But yes, we've had a tough few seasons, so I'd much rather this end of the season being like this than trying to get from 19th to 16th. So yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. It's been a good year.
Good stuff. Well, the theme of the conference is recovery. Will we get straight into it? Do you want to tell us how, obviously very current at the minute with a massively congested fixture program?
Yeah, sure.
How big a deal or how big a difficulty is managing the recovery, considering the training loads and the workloads and the amount of meters and game minutes that these guys are putting through their legs at the minute? How big a challenge is that for you guys at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, it's always challenging. I think there's lots of moving parts to it. In a normal season, we're operating at the lower levels of professional football, so small staff, and have to be always quite clever of how we do things and try and get sort of maximum bang for our buck. So there's always that equation, sort of staff to player numbers and how often staff can get hands-on with players if they need a bit of manual therapy. I think it comes down to the type of players you have in your building, of how professional they are and how active they take their recovery and how serious they take that in the time that you don't see them as well as the time you do see them. Obviously, so everything from, say, nutrition, we don't have don't have maybe the restaurants and canteens of teams higher up the leagues, but we do a decent level of nutrition for them. But say maybe, I don't know, over the season, maybe 300 athlete feeds out of the sort of 2,500 that they're going to need over the year. So we try and give lots of advice that way. And then equipment really is the other thing. We've invested in the last 4 or 5 years into more game readies and Normatec trousers and those type of things, and compression guns and all those type of things. So the pandemic has sort of made it just harder at the start of the year. It's, indoor areas become no-goes, change rooms become no-goes, ice baths are very difficult to do. We had a link up with a local leisure club, so they've had a sort of single depth warm pool, which we used to send some of the players up there for. That shut. So lots of challenges really, Andrew. But look, it is what it is. We're all operating in the same way, and it's a level playing field from that point of view. So you just have to try and be more organised. I think that's one thing this pandemic has definitely brought. Our organisation has been excellent from the manager downwards. He really sets the tone for that. We've got excellent staff who front load everything for the week, for the month. We know where we're going to get bottlenecks in the day, in the week. So we just try and be ready for that, really. The scheduling that we use, players booking appointments or staff making appointments available either way round, or players requesting appointments, that's just worked superbly well since the start of the year. So everyone knows who's coming in the building when, which time they need to be out of the room, when it can be cleaned, and the sort of the roller coaster continues, really.
There's been no lazy questions with Kairos. Is that a case of the club benefiting just because you don't have to repeat yourself, or is there something a little bit less tangible to the benefit that Kairos gives in terms of ownership or empowering guys or giving guys more information so they're a part of the plan?
Yeah, I think that's crucial, really. We said at the start of the year that when really players are going to have to take a lot more responsibility. Testing twice a week, all those different things that we don't want to be chasing you as staff. There's too much going on, and we're not going to see you as much. So you need to be really accountable for what you're doing, and even more responsible than you have been. And look, we've recruited some excellent people into our building this year as well. So the two things go hand in hand, and you can trust them to crack on. But yeah, I think it's really helped. They can see everything in advance. They can give one another a little nudge if they need to. But, days of sort of whiteboards and taking photos and then a text message and, at 7 o'clock, Matt, just remind me of the pickup time tomorrow and when do I need to be there and can I leave my car? It's just the more organised you can be on it and all the information you get, it just becomes a central notice board for all those sorts of things. It's been fantastic.
One particular feature that I know you guys have really valued is the ability to save a template, a schedule template into your library of schedules, and then just pull that down, make a couple of changes, and push that out to the players. How is that? We've talked mostly about the benefit to players, but how's that benefited staff in terms of just getting that time back?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, it's instant. I think for someone like Kit, our academy operations guy, he's used to sending hundreds of emails and receiving hundreds of emails back, and I think if you just note the way that can change for him in his daily work routines of putting something in and then just getting an easy notification back. It's all there. He's not getting his inbox filled up with other things that then he might miss with other ways. He can, if he's got a weekend of fixtures to do and then maybe some midweek ones. There's lots of games going on in any week in the academy. So it's hundreds of parents and coaches and part-time staff and everyone to notice, but you just get that simple notification, and then once you open up that particular moment, whether that's a game or whatever it may be, you can just see who you're still waiting on and who's confirmed. It's so simple. I can't believe others, why anyone would not want it. It'd have to be a good reason why you wouldn't want that in your daily workflow.
Great stuff. Last one, the medics. Let's not ignore the medics as we're talking about recovery. How's the feedback been from them in terms of the ability to manage those one-on-ones, push those appointments to players, create a block of availability, allow players to book in at a time that suits them? How's that used, and what sort of feedback are you getting from the medics?
Yeah, they like it, I think, because it runs like private practice more than anything, but I suppose one thing is difficult to measure is just that what would have been like in a sort of non-COVID era, but it still would have had its organisation. That what it's like at a football club, the canteen, the gym, and the medical room attract different niches of players. Really, we have a quite open access way of doing things previously, but obviously that's stopped at present. We try and have an open doors in everywhere really that players can feel comfortable where they are. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's allowed them to run it like private practice. They know who's coming. The player can make a note about, what in particular that they need some help with. That highlights maybe a problem. Sometimes you'll have seen it and experienced it. Coaches' frustrations of a player doesn't report something till sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock on the training day. The coach has planned his session, planned his numbers for that session the next day, and then suddenly it's scuppered because something's been thrown in late. It's just, everyone can see that live. Everyone can see that who's having an appointment, what they need, what they're reporting. The medical staff can, Mikey and Leslie and Rich can feed back to coaches straight away to say, I've got these 3 booked in tomorrow. No one else. This will be this. I'm sure I'll be able to get him on the training field. It might be best if he's off feet conditioning tomorrow or he's just gym based. So nothing's a rush. Nothing's a reaction on the day of a training. You can just be really, as much as you can. Obviously, there's always things that throw a spanner in the works, but there's a lot of information up front rather than minutes before the session and annoying them. And they get the magic number 17 to try and work out in their session, are they going to make that flow or, a terrible prime number. So, all those things help. They've enjoyed it. It's made them better organised and better prepared for what's walking in the room.
Brilliant. That's great, Matt. Listen, I've kept you long enough, but thanks a lot for that. You guys are obviously having a blinder this season. Long may it continue, and hopefully keep that smile on your face. Because as you say, last year in the dogfight at the bottom, it's a lot nicer being at the top, fighting out for first, second, and third. So great stuff. Congratulations on all your success this season, and
thank you.
And great to get good feedback.
Thanks for having me. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to Simon for having us, and thanks to Matt Walker for sharing his experience. If you want to hear more about Kairos, have a look at the website. It's kairostech.io, or feel free to reach out to me at andrew@kairostech.io.